Chinese tech giant Huawei signing a deal to assist Russian telecom company MTS to develop Russia's 5G network. That deal coming as Chinese President Xi Jinping is meeting with Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The two leaders have met nearly 30 times over the past 6 years, by the way. Xi going so far as to call Putin his very best friend. I added the very, it was just best friend. But there it is. President Trump today threatened more tariffs on Chinese goods in the coming weeks.
When am I going to put the extra $325 billion worth of tariffs? I will make that decision, I would say, over the next 2 weeks, probably right after the G20. One way or the other, I'll make that decision after the G20. I'll be meeting with President Xi, and we'll see what happens.
That G20 summit takes place in Osaka, Japan, June 28 and 29. Well, joining me now, James Freeman, assistant editor at the Wall Street Journal, author, Fox Business contributor, great American. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Xi and Putin lining up together. Two commies. Really? Should any of us be surprised they like one another?
You know, along with Huawei's other problems, I think it needs work on public relations, too. Right. Because it seems to me, if you were trying to say, we're not a threat, we're not dangerous, your next move is not to say, look at our new business partner, Vladimir Putin.
Right. We both have, by the way, hypersonic missiles, and we're just tickled pink to be able to try them out.
Yeah, the rogues gallery that they've signed up. It also, just in terms of if this was meant to be an economic show of force, Russia we take seriously because it's run by a thug and because they have nuclear weapons. Its economy is less than 10% the size of ours. So this is not a huge...
But we don't take China seriously because it's run by a guy in a three-piece suit and a button-down collar? I mean, come on. He's stealing $500 million from us a year. Putin isn't doing that. Who wins that discussion?
Well, if Putin's not, it's because he doesn't have the opportunity.
Well,
but
I didn't say that it wasn't a matter of wherewithal. I wasn't suggesting anyway it was a higher moral plane upon which Vladimir Putin lives.
Right.
But the fact is, one is a thief of immense proportions, and the other can't get it done.
Well, I would say there's both more upside and downside with China. We obviously do draw a lot of benefits from trade with China, but we have a big problem.
Wait a minute. Think about that proposition that you've just made. We draw a lot of benefits from China. They steal $500 billion from us every year in intellectual property and technology. They also maintain a $350 billion trade surplus, or to us, a deficit, which will reduce and has reduced by $5 trillion our economic growth over the course of the past 20 years. I'm struggling to find the benefit in being the trading partner of such a bunch of thieves.
The intellectual property theft, you're 100% right. I think the president is pushing the right issue there.
Absolutely is.
Trade deficits don't matter most of the time. We've talked about this before. We've had very good years with trade deficits.
Those academic contracts, like so many economists.
If a trade deficit or surplus is happening because of government diktat, that's bad.
Government. That is our gross domestic product, is it not? Plus or minus trade deficit.
We can have a good relationship with a country and a trade deficit if they're making stuff we want to buy. Obviously, with the China situation, if it's their government
situation here, this isn't an academic or hypothetical, James.
No.
This is a thieving bunch of communists stealing our future. And by the way, as the president has put it, we can't blame the Chinese because they have stolen from us. We should blame ourselves for permitting it for the past 2 decades. I mean, it's madness. And you say it doesn't matter.
I think there's an argument. That argument to drive a hard bargain with China, I think, is the related to why we should not be driving as hard a bargain with Mexico.
Why?
Because these are completely different situations.
You've got 20 to 30 million illegal immigrants in this country. They are exporting the majority of methamphetamines, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl into the United States and killing tens of thousands of people. I'm sorry. Can I not consider that the acts of an enemy state?
Wouldn't you agree that the government of Mexico has been much more reasonable than the government of China in trade negotiations?
To be honest with you, we have a trade agreement with Canada and with Mexico.
They just went a long way to giving they just cut a new agreement with President Trump. The Mexicans gave him a lot of what he was asking for, right? And now, as we see...
What about the matters that I did raise with you that is the basis of the crisis, the national emergency this nation faces?
Right.
You know, it was declared by the president 4 months ago.
I would say
illegal
the government
immigration, drug smuggling, sex trafficking. Are you kidding me? These are the acts of a friendly state?
I'm saying they are being... Look at how they're reacting, much more reasonably than the government of China, and I would say much more reasonably than Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. They have the Mexican government...
You're giving me a real Hobson's choice here. I get Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, or Lopez Obrador, or Xi Jinping.
And I think AMLO is clearly the most reasonable in these negotiations. So
what the hell?
The Mexicans
do you judge things on whether it's reasonable, or do you judge whether or not this nation is able to protect and preserve the safety of its citizens and protect its borders, its sovereignty, and national interests?
So the president has made it clear that's his priority. The Mexicans have come with serious offers to address it. More troops on their southern border with Guatemala. More asylum requests, handled in Mexico.
Lopez Obrador,
we don't need
be on your ballot next time. I can't wait for you as you head off to the friendly environs of Mexico. James Freeman, new citizen thereof.